As we've been progressing through the material here, we've been going from basic computer type skills, right? Yes, I know how to use an operating system. Yes, I know the difference between an application software and a system software. Yes, I have more than just a basic understanding of Word and Excel and PowerPoint. I know what a database is. All of those are fantastic skills to have in your back pocket as you're going into an interview, right? Because those are skills that, at the very, very least, demonstrate a competency that you can use when you go to a new employer. Here, with HTML, on the other hand, this is a skill that really helps positively, in a good way, differentiate you from every other employee, or potential employee rather, that comes through to interview for a position at a new company. While we're here talking about employees interviewing for new positions at new companies, some things to think about, and it really doesn't matter what field it is that you're going into. Some things to think about are what really are the core skills that employers are looking for. In no particular order, year after year, the top 5 skills really revolve around things that you would think you would have, that probably you do have, that really you should just be highlighting for that potential future employer. So in no particular order, because they change a little bit year after year. Problem-solving skills, that's almost always number 1. What can you do as a employee that's going to help you see a problem in a different way so that you can address that problem? So that's number 1. Number 2 is working in project teams. Unless you are banging out a manifesto under a bare bulb in a cabin in the woods, you are going to be working with other people. So for those of you who said, yeah, sign me up for computer science, because I really hope never to work with anybody ever again, you should probably just start investing in the lottery, because very probably it's not going to happen the way you think it is. So problem solving, working in a team, and communication. That seems again like something that, yeah, okay, look, I have at least some command of the English language. I ought to be able to communicate. But at the end of the day, you'd be really surprised at just how difficult it is for somebody with a technical knowledge. So again, it doesn't really matter what field you're going into. You are going to have a technical jargon. So if you are going into computer science, you're going to have computer jargon. If you are going to go into health and medicine, you are going to have health and medicine jargon. And being able to take that technical jargon, those things that you use as shorthand to communicate from one expert to another, whatever you can do to make sure that you are communicating that technical jargon in a way that anybody can understand. That's a huge, important thing that a lot of people actually just skip over valuing, and you really shouldn't be doing that. After this, we see a little bit of fluctuation in just what it is that skills rather that employers are looking for, and almost always at the number 5 spot is a little bit of HTML and web design knowledge. At the core of this is a pretty simple new millennia kind of observation. It's that if your company does not have a presence on the web, do you really exist? And the question is not one like, if a tree falls in a forest, does it make a sound? Or what is the sound of one hand clapping? You know, those are supposed to get your creative juices flowing and make you think about stuff. And what I can tell you is those don't have satisfying answers. But what does have a satisfying answer is, if you're not online, do you exist? And the answer is simply no. Just as a little bit of an exercise, when was the last time you used a Yellow Pages or a White Pages as anything other than a big, thick, shim for a pool table? You probably haven't in quite some time. When was the last time you decided, hey, I need a plumber? I am going to go to the White Pages to find that. You probably haven't done that in a very long time. you go right to the internet. For most of us, that means you go right to Google, and you Google, schools in Rockford. You Google plumbers in Rockford. You look for it online. So when I came to Rockford, to Rock Valley for the first time, before I turned tail and went home, I asked Google essentially where it is that I could find a cup of coffee for my ride home. I did not go to the library, either on campus or otherwise, to find a white pages to hope that I could call a coffee shop to get directions on how to get there. That seems silly to most of us now. Most companies are really willing to bet a substantial portion of their income and their future on their web presence. And if you can go into an interview and say, hey, look, I have all of these skills. I have problem solving skills. I have team building skills. I have communication skills. And as a turbocharger, I have some of these skills in HTML. That is really a big, powerful tool. It's a weapon that you can use effectively to help you find gainful employment. So with our last module here, we are going to be focusing in on HTML. Don't be fooled, don't be drawn off by the XHTML label that's on the packets essentially that you'll work through. That is perfectly okay. They are essentially the same set of rules, the same set of technologies built around one another. Having a skill set in one translates almost entirely into a skill set in the other. So where it is that you hear HTML, you can essentially look at the packet and say, that's the exact same thing here that we're going to be looking at. What you'll find is here in this module, there's going to be additional podcasts to help bring you through everything. So give a listen to those too, and really take your time and get some skill set here with what's happening in HTML. As a bit of a shameless plug, and this is honestly something that I really do suggest for people going into a wide host of different career fields, is take more in-depth HTML classes. Here at RVC, we offer a Web 101, a Web 102, and a host of other web-related classes. Really investigate taking those. They will plug into a lot of majors as an elective because we understand what a career supercharger HTML is. So as we're going through this, cast an eye out towards those Web 101, Web 102, etc. courses, because they really will help you in the future separate yourself from other potential future employees as a good candidate for a position in any sort of an industry. So without further ado, here's a little bit more on HTML.